EnWave is a global leader in vacuum microwave dehydration technology for the food, pharmaceutical, and cannabis industries with a unique recurring revenue model. EnWave has been busy since we last talked with CEO Brent Charleton in early July, having raised $3 million to fund accelerating growth and having announced several new deals. I'm Martin Gagel with Market Radius Research. Please remember this is neither recommendation nor investment advice. We're here to learn about the company. Brent, how you doing?
Extremely well, Martin. Good to connect.
Excellent. Yes. So, yeah, you've done a lot. You've had quarterly results out, raised some money, announced some deals. What should investors be focusing on here over the last few months, and I guess coming into the last stretch of the year here?
Sure. Well, we just finished up our fiscal year for 2025, September 30th, and have yet to report our Q4 earnings and year-to-date earnings for fiscal 25, which will come out in mid-December. And if we look at the news releases we put out throughout fiscal 25, there are a number of 10 kilowatts or smaller scale units, which get recognized as revenue upon commissioning, and some larger units that we had under manufacture primarily through Q4, which will all be recognized in Q4. So we're expecting a very robust quarter and ultimately a very strong fiscal 25 based on Q4's contribution to the overall picture. And as we move now into Q1, we do have a very strong pipeline of deals that we're expecting to announce in the coming weeks here before the holiday season kicks off. Time flies, as you know. So it's very important for us to get a few deals across the line through October here and into November. You did mention the life financing. We raised $3 million recently for the purposes of building out our inventory. So for those folks who've been following our story for quite some time, know that the manufacturing timeline for a large scale machine is about 6 to 7 months from purchase order to delivery. So in order to expedite that process and also faster recognition of revenue as the large scale machines we have are recognized on a percentage completion basis, we've started to build now 3 large scale machines for inventory with the expectation that we will contract and sell those machines in the coming quarters. And as soon as we start selling these machines that are being built for inventory, we'll immediately start building additional large scale units again to be faster to market and meet the demand of both new license partners of ours and repeat orders from current commercial licensees.
I guess you're feeling pretty confident in your pipeline if you've raising capital to build up inventory that there's a strong demand there to buy that product you're pre-building here.
Yeah, it's a remarkable difference in our probably former conservative nature of waiting for a purchase order to be signed, taking a deposit, starting to order componentry and building those machines pragmatically. We are quite confident in the number again of repeat purchase orders, which we have better foresight on, given that we have great relationships with many of the licensees of our technology, and they give us forecasts of what volumes they may need to satisfy the capacities of their customers through 2026 and beyond. So putting that into our planning for next year. Again, we're confident in selling the machines we're building now. I would be surprised if we weren't able to close at least 6 large-scale transactions in this fiscal year, fiscal 26. And if we do so, we'll be producing likely the best financial performance that EnWave's ever put forth. Fiscal 25, we sold 4 large-scale machines and 8 small-scale machines, which are almost fully recognized. And that provides us, based on a 2024 royalty run rate, which was just under 2 million, in a break-even scenario. So for fiscal 25, our expectation is royalties will be higher than last year. We still haven't got all the royalty reports yet for Q4, and then continue to grow through fiscal 26 to somewhere in the range of 2.5 to 2.7 million in royalties next year. So high level optimism internally, a lot of vigor with our manufacturing group because they're so friggin' busy right now, both building equipment and installing. And just a general excitement in terms of the scale and size and the quickness that some of these projects are moving right now.
Am I fair to assume that people who buy the bigger 60 and 120 kilowatt machines, they first purchase one of the 10 kilowatt machines to try it out, do some test products, and then scale up? Is that a good assumption to make? So of the bigger units, they're in a sense repeat customers since they've already bought a smaller machine?
In most cases for new projects, you're absolutely correct. A company, one of our most recent news releases with a Brazilian partner called Solve Solutions, they signed a license, agreed to pay royalties. bought a 10 kilowatt unit. And now within 6 months, they expect to buy a large scale unit, which we disclosed to maintain certain exclusive rights we've given to them for Brazil. My understanding might move even quicker based on some of the interest they have from their customers. So it's one way to scale up. The other is we have companies who act as co-manufacturers. So companies that will produce ingredients and snacks for other branded food companies, like a MicroDried or even Branch Out Foods as another example, where it's not necessarily scaling up from a 10 to 60 or 120. It's like they already have, 3, 4, 5 large scale machines being used. And simply put, they just need more manufacturing capacity because for every single SKU, like singular, that is launched by a large consumer packaged goods company, the requirement is a minimum of one large scale machine to satisfy initial launch volumes, potentially two. So as they're negotiating supply agreements with some of their bigger customers, we could see instantaneous, multiple purchase orders coming from some of our partners, again, to grow their business and satisfy their customer needs in 2026.
All right. I was just reviewing your presentation deck, and very impressive that since 2020 you were doing 835 grand in recurring royalty revenues, and now from Q3 the trailing 12 months was 2.1 million. So that's almost a tripling of that recurring revenue, which is very high margin because it's all royalty based, I believe. I guess that trajectory with the new machines, it layers on each new machine adds a new stream of recurring revenue. So I guess that's the reason for your bullishness here.
Yeah, and also the fact that established products in market will instantaneously raise the number of royalties we collect as those machines are installed. It's not a slower build with newer products, which need to take time to gain distribution, get the marketing plans in place, and you see a slower build in royalties being paid back to EnWave. In these cases, more recently, it's plug and play and close to 80-90% capacity utilization on day one. And so
Oh,
that gives
wow.
us, a heightened level of confidence in royalty growth in the near term. And
Yeah.
ultimately, where we'd like to be in the next, 2 to 3 years is generate enough royalties to cover all of the expenses in our business, which at this point is just under about $5 million per year. And then not rely upon with the more lumpy, large scale transactions, the margin we gain on those transactions to offset the shortfall in terms of royalty generation to cover our base expenses. That being said, though, I mean, the forecast with large scale machines seems a lot more smooth. Like for Q1 here, we're again bullish on future transactions, and there's still percentage completion to recognize. That's been one of the detractors for EnWave as a stock. In past years, is you have a fantastic quarter and then a really down quarter, and then a fantastic quarter, and there's been ups and downs. And what we're trying to ensure is obviously more consistency with closing deals and a more smooth growth than a jagged approach.
Right now, you've got a lot of strength in the food products business, dried fruit and dairy and so forth. Are there any other market segments that you're targeting that we could see some growth coming out of?
Yeah, great question, Martin. So we have the majority of our current royalty-bearing licenses signed with fruit and vegetable and dairy partners, as you've alluded to. Where we see more growth opportunities in 2026 would be in the pet food industry. We're working with some of the top companies in North America and in Europe right now on a product development side. We're also active in the alternative protein space, which is something that I think is going to continue to evolve as consumers make more health conscious and responsible choices for what they're putting in their bodies. And also in the confectionery industry, we haven't had many deals with, call it candy companies per se, but we have several on the go and are looking forward to maybe announcing our first this quarter in Europe, where there could be some significant growth to pursue. And lastly, I'll just mention the instant noodle area, which we have a partner here in Canada in the ramen space, but we're working with some of the bigger names in Japan right now to hopefully push deals across the line where we can integrate into their systems, and given the scope and size and where they could go, hopefully many more machines to be deployed into Japan in the future.
I tell you personally, my dog loses her mind with moon cheese. We can get her to do absolutely anything when we feed her. We treat her
Yeah,
with moon cheese. So I know
that's
you've
great to
got a
hear.
customer here for that. Okay, that's great. Any final words before we wrap this up, Brent?
I would just encourage folks who have been following the story to share in the excitement that we have internally here. We're hoping to deliver an even stronger year in fiscal 26 based on pipeline, and thrilled to hear back from our current licensed partners and how their products are actually doing in market. Some announcements from our publicly traded partners, i.e. Branch Out Foods, which recently announced they had multiple new listings in Costco for different SKUs, as well as I know that they're negotiating with some of the biggest fast food chains for certain ingredients in their beverage categories. So there's a lot of things percolating, a lot of things that could lead to, again, multiple large scale purchase orders next year, which should, again, improve our financial performance forthcoming.
All right, Brent, thank you very much. Appreciate the update. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Martin.